Hey, y'all. It's Shamika Rhymes, and welcome to the first episode of Soulibration. I know y'all are probably like, what is a Soulibration? Okay, it's a little bit of a party, but Soulibration is we're going to celebrate our souls, free our souls, and just have content that is inspiring, uplifting, that will nourish your soul. So I'm really, really excited that I'm here, and you can probably have seen me over on Check the Rhymes TV. So make sure you check me out over there, y'all. Today I've got to tell you about this guest. He is known for developing Eve's Hallmark Platinum Shortcut, creating Kimora Lee Simmons' sexy glam look and defining Lisa Ray's signature style. He also gave Keisha Cole something she can feel, y'all. Dr. Boogie is joining me. He is the host of the show, My Main Problem. It's airing right now. Actually, it streams every single Thursday on the All Black Network. You can download the app, check it out. But anyway, Dr. Boogie's here to talk about summer hair care. Gonna give us some tips so we can get our hair right for the summer. And he's going to tell us about the second season of My Main Problem, which is already kicked off. We're 2 episodes in, so you got to catch up. Anyway, let's get Dr. Boogie in here so we can kick off today's show. Dr. Boogie, welcome to Soulibration.
I'm happy to be on Soulibration, especially the first episode. Thank you for having me.
I feel like I should have some confetti, but I'll just give you some jazz fingers.
I'm pretty good at that. I'll make us some confetti, honey. It's a celebration, Soulibration. We had it. How are you?
Everybody tuning in, let us know where you're checking in from in the comments, because we want to know where you're at, and if you have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll try to get to those. All right, so Dr. Boogie, I'm gonna kick this off. This is gonna be this is a hard question right here. How can women and men repair and prevent damage to their hair caused by heat, styling, sun exposure, and other environmental factors during the summer, like the sun, chlorine, salt water, and just traveling in dry air?
Well, for African American, most and all everyone, people who wear color, when your hair, it's the summertime, your hair is dry, depending on where you live in the world, it's a little hotter and drier in some places, more humid in others. So what you want to do is pretty much just make sure that you're keeping your hair clean on a daily basis. Make sure you're oiling your scalp, feeding your hair, making sure that you're putting like sunscreen in your hair, basically if you have color in your hair, because the sun can even bleach and lighten your hair even more. So you just want to take all the little protective things, the protective heat styles, the protective little, sunscreens they have for the hair, and just, take care of your hair, shampoo your hair, stimulate your scalp, feed your scalp. Little things like that will get you through the summer healthy, safe, without drying your hair out and looking up and you have a whole head full of broken hair.
Well, that's a question I see pop up a lot. People talking about how often they should shower. That's a whole nother topic. But
shower?
Yes, you gotta, Dr. Boogie, you gotta pay attention to these internet streets. But how often should people be washing their hair?
Well, hopefully people are showering often. You should wash your hair, for African American women, you should probably wash your hair every other week. You actually want to let the oils build up. You don't want to keep washing the oils out and stripping it. We need the oils to, keep our scalp healthy. We need the oils to keep our hair to continue to grow, to produce healthy hair. So those oils are good. So you don't want to strip them and wash them out all the time, every other day. You kind of want to let it build up for like a week or every other week.
That's good to know, because I've known some people that have let that hair be unwashed for months. And
I mean, you know what? It's not a bad thing to let it go for wash, because our hair thrives off of oil and the minerals, and it produces natural oil. So it's not a bad thing. It could be a smelly little thing, but I don't want to keep touching on the shower and the smells and all that type of stuff. We're here to talk about my main problem and not my main smell.
Well, what are some signs of damaged hair? Because on your show, My Main Problem, there are some people, some women and men that come in and they have hair trauma. So what are those signs of damaged hair, and how can individuals identify it before they even get to the salon? Like if I'm just looking in the mirror, how do I know if I have damaged hair?
Well, some people don't take the initiative. If they see something going on, or they see too much hair in the sink or in the comb, you realize that your hair is breaking off, or you're doing too much. But a lot of it, I'm just keeping it real, just comes from being lazy. or just giving up. And then it's kind of too late because now it's all so much damaged. I mean, we all have some form of damaged hair, someone, somewhere, somehow, a split end somewhere. No one's hair is just absolutely perfect, but it is a constant to do trying to keep it's something that you kind of want to keep up on a daily basis, like showering.
Yeah. You had to slip that in there. Well, are there any common misconceptions about repairing damaged hair that you would like to address? Because I know, again, you see a lot of hair trauma, especially on my main problem.
There's so many different types of damaged hair that's out there. So, you can repair it just by doing simple things, like I said, feeding it, stimulating your scalp, trimming your ends, getting your hair washed, just giving your hair some therapy. Again, it's a constant go around keeping your hair healthy. You don't just get it healthy one time and leave it alone. It's, keeping the rubber bands out, making sure that they're not pulling too much, watching out for the braids, not pulling your edges too much, damaging your edges, causing plugs. A lot of people don't know wearing these wigs, those combs and those clips. If you'll see a lot of that on my main problem, a lot of people point directly to that bald spot, and that bald spot normally comes from those wigs anchoring with those clips, and it's just literally pulling out their hair. But once you go on that train and you just start covering up, sometimes it just takes a moment to get off of it.
Well, how would you say that mental health plays a part in damaged hair?
Oh my God, absolutely. It comes in for me, it's my opinion, everybody has their own opinion.
Mhm.
For me, it comes in with this whole social media and what they're watching in these music videos. They're looking at something really that's not so real. And you could take a picture of something and make it look much more fabulous. But then when you look at it up close and, you got these lace fronts peeling back, it's not stuck down in the back, they're adding the glue to it every day. It's just insane. And they're not taking the initiative to just take care of their hair. Everybody wants the quick fix. The quick fix is not always right. And you'll see that on my main problem. This is one lady that comes on here. I call her the game show queen. You're going to love her. She's so beautiful. She just wanted to weave. Everybody comes on my main problem. They just want the Beyonce hair. They just want to weave. And it's like, I get it. That's a big win for me to give you thousands of dollars worth of hair, give you a top of the line weave, but that's not what we're here for. I'm not against it, but let's get your hair on a healthy track. Like yourself, you mentioned that you're going to put your wig on tomorrow and you don't want to wear it today because you was talking to me. So in that fact, you're using it as an accessory and not a crutch, and that's fine.
Not you calling me out.
Well, hey, that's what we do on my main problem. We talk about it, girl.
Let me give y'all the backstory. So earlier, I decided not to wear a wig because I knew Dr. Boogie was coming to the show. And I was telling him that sometimes I do throw a wig on, especially for my show, Check the Rhymes. I throw the wig on because I'm lazy.
But at least you're honest, though. You know what I mean?
But it's only on for the duration of an interview. I don't wear it outside the house. I don't go anywhere because that thing is heavy.
You know what? That's your prerogative. I'm not against people who wear wigs and weaves and extensions. I like to make that clear. I just want you to take care of your hair in the process. Don't use it as a crutch. Use it as an accessory. That's why I always say accessory when I talk about that on my main problem.
Well, I'm curious about clip-ins.
Okay.
Because for a while I was relying on clip-ins while I was waiting for my hair to grow back out after damage. What are your thoughts on using clip-ins? And I know there are times where I've heard people say that they keep those clip-ins in for weeks at a time, and I don't know how.
I mean, it's just like a little metal object poking in your hair. So if you got them in right, there's a way to put the clip in to where it's not, pulling. The thing about the clip in is it's metal, and it eventually is pulling and rubbing and rubbing. It's going to break off the hair in that area. 1 strand, 2 strand, 3 strand, 5 strands, and now you got an area. So it's like you got to be careful when you do it. You have to not, abuse it. Wear them to sleep while it's pulling your hair when you're tossing and turning while you're sleeping, because all that's doing is pulling it and pulling the root and pulling out the hair from the root.
Well, how are you supposed? So would you suggest taking those out?
Oh, absolutely.
Every day?
That's what clip-ins are for. They're made to clip in and remove. If you want something more permanent, then you would get like a sew-in, so it's more permanent, and it's put in properly and it's protected. It's more of a protective hairstyle. Mm-hmm. Clip-ins are just a quick accessory. And, who's sleeping in their gold jewelries and their accessories, honey? Because that's just an accessory. You got to take it off.
Well, I mean, so I can admit, when I have gone to the salon, gotten the clip-ins put in because I done paid so much for it. I'm sleeping in them clip-ins at least
But you
for
can take
three,
them
four
out, they
days.
clip in, they clip in and clip out. And when you're sleeping in them, you're pulling, and when
Yep.
you pull that hair, that clip is attached to that hair and that root. So when it
Mm,
comes out, it's coming out from the root. So that's why you see
okay.
a lot of people on my main problem, they point right, and most problem areas for people are right here because that's where that clip is, that's where that other clip is, and of course in the
Mm,
back it's a wrap because there's those two clips back there. So those clips really do cause damage when you're pulling. Even another thing I have a problem with when people have wigs and weaves on, they're pulling and they're brushing and they're blow drying. You have to remember that's attached to your hair.
oh
You're
yeah.
going to pull your hair out. You have to be a little bit more gentle.
Hmm. Well,
Love your
now
hair, people.
do this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm just curious. Do edges grow back?
Edges do grow back depending on how they were removed. Now, were they pulled out, snatched out, ripped out? Did they fall out? So it just depends on how they were removed to where if they're going to grow back or not. But there are things that you can do, just like by stimulating your scalp, getting the electro treatments. It's something you could buy on the internet with a little electro machine. You've probably seen it in season 1 of My Main Problem. I gave it
Hmm.
to a young lady there to help stimulate those follicles to get that hair to grow back. But if you constantly just pull the follicles all the way out from the root, the bulbs are gone. It's gone. It's
Right.
a wrap.
Well, how long does
And
it
a
take
lot of
to?
people know they're doing this. They're watching themselves do it every day, saying, oh, today won't hurt. Oh, today won't
Mhm.
hurt. Today just turned into 3 or 4 years. Now
Mm-hmm.
look what you have, damage.
Yeah. How long would you say it takes to grow your edges back? So I'm gonna put myself out there.
Put it out there, honey. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
well,
it.
mine grew back, but but I'm just curious for those that may want to know. Like mine hair started to come out because of my low ferritin, which is related to
Mhm.
your iron because of fibroids. So in a situation like that, it has taken a long time for them to
Mhm.
come back in. But I'm just curious for if it's coming from like you said wigs or other, if it's or if somebody pulled them out or whatever it is. How long does it usually take?
You know what? Again, it depends on how they came out. That's like it
Okay.
depends on how they were vacated, honey. It just depends. It's like moving into a house. If they was thrown out, it takes a little longer to get the new tenants in. If they moved out properly, then get it right back in over the weekend. But the thing is, it depends on how they were removed. So how they're gonna grow back. But the good thing for you, you have to be patient. And you were patient, and they grew back. A lot of people are not patient, so they start putting the fix on it, and the fix is just ruining it more. No, it's not gonna repair in 1 week. Like when people come on My Main Problem, I can only do what I can do. First of all,
Mhm.
we're filming a television show, and I
Right.
can only do what I can do as far as the magic and the miracle that I can make happen with the little bit of hours that I'm with you. I can't grow your hair within one episode. So
Right.
you have to follow the prescription. And a lot of people, people get frustrated being impatient. It takes
Mhm.
time. Hair does not grow that fast.
Yeah,
But if
that was
you're
me.
patient with it, it will reward you. And you will be so thankful when you old and older and of age and you got some hair and you ain't got to run around putting that wig on all the time and slipping it off while it's on the pillow and you wake up and you want to make sure he ain't seen it. That's a tragedy, girl. That's stress. That will make your
Yes.
hair fall out.
Yes, that, that does sound
Oh,
stressful.
child.
Speaking of random, but
I love random.
I know I just when you say stuff, I start thinking of stuff and deviating from my question list. But other people may wonder the same thing. When you go to work out, how should you protect your hair, especially in the summer? Like I go to yoga
Mhm.
studio. I started wrapping my hair up in a scarf because my hairdresser was like, "I'm tired of you coming back in here looking like a Brillo pad." But but because you're sweating and all the things, and if you've gotten your hair done, how can you protect that style, especially in the summer? If you decide to, if you're one of those lucky chosen ones that love to go out and run, or if you are outside doing yoga, or you want to go to hot yoga, like how do you protect your hair?
I love how you said that. You're lucky one of those like to go outside and run, right? If you got that energy, honey, yes, you are the lucky one. It's
Right.
like, I'm not running nowhere. But you
Nowhere.
know what? This is going to be weird, and I really don't like to say this, but the sweatbands. Remember the sweatbands? That
Yeah.
I don't want to say his name. I don't remember, but the Simmons guy, did the workout stuff with the little hot shorts on.
Oh,
He
Richard
always wore those
Simmons.
sweatbands.
Yes.
Yeah, so those sweatbands, believe it or not, that elastic is not good around your hairline. But if you're wearing it just to work out, it's excellent because it catches that sweat before it gets off up into your hair. Because most people just, perspire right around that hairline, right where the edges are, and it gets a little fuzzy, and that's what we don't want. So you can also tie it up. And then when you get finished, just hit it with a blow dryer from far when you finish working out. I mean, it's more work. The more you do, the more work it's going to be. And it's
That's
okay. We
yeah.
have to spend time on ourselves. We have to do self-care, self-love. That's one thing on my main problem that I really try to push to people. Everybody is running, 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 and everybody, but we have to give ourselves self-care and self-love. And we build that confidence for people on that show so much. So when they do look in that mirror for that reveal,
Mhm.
they don't just see the hairdo, they see the confidence that we have built together since they have been on the show from the time they got there.
Yeah. For those tuning in just now, let everybody know what my main problem is about. I gave a little bit of an intro, but I'm just going to jump to that question of what is the show about?
My main problem is a show that addresses the issues with women and their hair,
Mhm.
specifically Black women, women of color, how it is and how hard it is and what they go through. We showcase that. And I'm so grateful that women share all these stories about what they went through to get to why they are where they are now. And we talk about that. I mean, some of the stories are deep, heartfelt. People call the show a tearjerker. Yes, you're going to cry because I cry. Like
Right.
it's a real sensitive show. It's not scripted. What comes out of my mouth is what's on my mind. People share their stories with me. We have real conversations because they're real people with real stories with real hair damage.
Mhm.
And that's what you're going to get when you watch My Main Problem.
And I can attest to that. When you're watching that show, a tear will be shed because you just feel you can relate so much to the
And
women
I
on the
still can't
show.
please the people, honey. They be online reading me, honey. You know those keyboard ninjas. And I'm like, the show is a feel good show. For me, it's not about the hairstyle that I'm giving them. I can do any hairstyle in the world. It's about giving the ladies and the gentlemen something that they can appreciate. Most importantly, something they can take care of,
Mhm.
duplicate it, and feel good about it.
Yes.
It drives me crazy. I'm ready to cry now, girl, because I'm sensitive.
And for those tuning in, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat and we will absolutely try to get to those and answer them. Well, Dr. Boogie will. I'll just add in my 3 cents. But
Now you got some knowledge, honey. This ain't our first go round.
I know. Okay, so we do have a question from Lynette McCallum. What about those who sweat all over their head? What are the best ways to maintain your hair?
You know what? There's not much you really can do about that. Like if you sweat, I mean, you sweat. There's nothing you can do about sweat. Your hair is going to get wet. The best thing to do is have a hairstyle that can absorb the sweat and it's not ruining your hairstyle, menopause, whatever, the heat, the humidity, wherever you live. You really just have to find the fix. Even if it's just a fan, it just depends on how is your hair. Like, do you have a relaxer? Do you have natural hair? Like, we're gonna sweat. So you just have to find a hairstyle that can endure the sweat and work with you, believe it or not.
So what kind of hairstyles would those be? So if, for example, if you are natural or relaxed, what
Well, if you're
what are some
natural, that's
examples?
totally fine because your hair is just gonna, swell up a little bit and you're just gonna have a little thick roots. That's totally fine.
Mhm,
But there's not much you can do about it. If your hair is natural, it's going to, frizz up a little bit. The
mhm,
afro texture is going to come out if it has been straightened and it gets wet. It's gonna revert and frizz. There's not really nothing you can do about that because you definitely don't want to go around straightening and flat ironing and battling with it
mhm.
unless you have a relaxer, then it'll naturally stay straight. So it just kind of depends on the hair texture.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's no one answer for that really, because again, everyone has different hair textures. Some people's hair can get wet and just stay stick straight. As we know, some people can get hair wet and it just revert to 4C and they just
Mhm.
don't know what to do. So, it's just one of those things that you kind of got to work with what you got and work with it.
Okay. All right. What about men? I know men sweat on their heads. What can they do? Just the
Men
same
do sweat on
headband?
their head. And they wear a lot of hats. And we had some guys that, even applied for the show, really major problems. And you'll see some guys on the show that wear hats and men that wear wigs. You'll see some interesting things.
Mhm.
And they are hiding as well. But in the process of hiding, they're damaging. And a lot of men like to wear hats. So sweating under the hat, girl, take it from me. It will come out. That hair needs to breathe. So,
Mhm.
yes, your hair will fall out. If you're doing too much, the hat will recede that hairline all the way back. I mean, it's just easy little things like wearing a hat, not taking it off, getting some air, not putting some vitamin D, letting the sun hit your scalp. Like those little things help good, healthy hair.
Okay. Okay. Well, can you This kind of goes with what I just asked, kind of sort of in a way, but can you recommend any protective hairstyles or techniques for minimizing damage to the hair, especially with individuals with fragile or chemically treated hair?
Well, hopefully you don't have chemically treated hair and you're doing protective hairstyles. Protective hair, you're either going from damaged or you have beautiful hair and you're trying to protect it. It's not really good to lock down chemically treated hair because it will kind of break off, especially, one being a relaxer. So
Mhm.
natural good with the protective hairstyles. Chemically treated, trying to go natural, not so well. The braids, the wigs, the weaves, the locks, all that is totally fine.
Mhm.
It's just what drives me the craziest is when people go for the tension. Everybody wants to be, it does not have to be so tight. Like,
Mhm.
why tight? To save money so you don't have to get it done so soon and pull all
Mhm.
your hair out. That to me, that's self-torture. And you will see a lot of that on My Main Problem. Self-torture. These women and these men that are just doing things to their hair that's completely ruin it
Mhm.
and ruining their self-esteem. And then to me, that's why I say it gets mental because you're doing this to yourself and you know it, but you're doing it anyway. So that's where the mental part comes into me. So I just kind of want to understand it. So that's why I ask some of the questions I ask, and we
Mhm.
go through the phases that we go through to get to the other side.
Yeah, I noticed that on the show, and even I believe first season, some of those things come from childhood. It's so
Oh,
amazing how that
absolutely.
just carries on through adulthood. Even as simple as I believe the young lady said her hair was braided too tight when she was a kid.
Brandy, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that scarred her. And,
Mhm.
mommy always wanted her to be perfect. And a lot of things scar us all as a child because, we love our family and friends. And those are the ones that can say small things to you because you love those people so much and you have so much respect for them. Those words really stick with you. Like you're
Mhm.
gonna see a girl on the show coming. Her name is Terry. They used to call her Conehead because her hair used to stick up like a cone because it was so kinky and it wouldn't move. And they used to call her Conehead, but that really scarred her. I can mention several people on the show that are living in a day now where things happened and things were said to them when they were younger that still with them 30 years later. Oh my God. I mean, just so I can think of five right off the bat. People that are afraid of their heritage because of their hair texture. Like, where does that happen at? Because
Mhm.
your hair is straighter than others, you're now afraid to be who you want to be and who you actually are.
Yeah.
50 years later, I got to help you identify yourself. And I love to do that, but that's what My Main Problem is about. We face real stories. And
Mhm.
again, I love that these people come on the show and share their stories with me
Yeah.
and
Wow.
us and everybody in the world.
We have a question.
Oh, we have a question. I haven't answered.
Yes. Miss McCallum is asking, what are your thoughts on taking collagen for hair strength and thickness?
You can, I would say, consult with your dermatologist. Make sure that that's good for you because everything is not good for everyone. So you don't want to just start taking things that you've read about and you've seen online because again, everything is not good for everyone. So consult with your dermatologist and see if that works for you or if there's something else. There's a lot of things out there, but I recommend start by just stimulating and feeding. You will be amazed at what you can achieve. It's not going to happen overnight.
Mhm.
Stick with it. Brush your hair 100 times a night. Anybody that's of age like me, you would know that, back in the day, a grandmother would say,
Oh
brush
yeah.
your hair 100 times a night, right? So that's what that was all about, to stimulate your hair. So when those OGs would take that hair down, they would have a long ponytail that was tied up in that little bitty knot because they
Mhm.
stimulated their scalp every night. It was routine.
Mhm. Yep. Let me get me a brush because that's what I'm gonna be doing later.
Yeah, it really works.
Okay, we have another question. LDW says, I'm thinning out my crown. I believe it's from my relaxer days. It hasn't worsened, but the hair hasn't come back either. Is there a remedy? Oh, and she's also menopausal.
Well, that could be some of the issues that what's going on right now. So one, you might want to get through that, and again, check with the dermatologist to see if that hair, if those follicles are still there, if it would even come back, because it may just have jumped ship. And then you just got to work on the next thing, which is camouflaging or contouring it some kind of way with a hairstyle that you're comfortable, and don't really worry about it, honey, because if it's gone, it's gone. There's nothing we can do, because the more we worry about it, the more we stress, the worse it will get.
Mhm. Well, what role do you think nutrition plays in maintaining healthy hair? And are there any dietary recommendations for promoting hair strength and resilience?
Oh, absolutely. It's just like eating right. If you put good stuff into your body, you will have healthy, strong hair, because what we put in our body comes out in our hair. You know how they do the drug test now and they can test your hair, because what you're
Mhm.
putting in your body is coming out in your hair. So even doing all of those unnecessary, extra activities, they're coming out in your hair. So your hair is the end all be all. So what you put in your body, you do want to put healthy things in your body, and you will produce healthier, stronger hair by having a good, healthy diet.
Okay. All right. Um, so do you have any advice for those that they love their lace fronts and they want to wear them this summer?
Let
Any
me get
advice?
something to hide with, because they're gonna start throwing stuff and battling with me, honey. We're gonna fight. They got how they lace fronts. I'm to battle with this ponytail. Let me tell you, don't be mad at me, y'all, when I say this. Debbie Allen told me this. Them lace front wigs, y'all, was made for theater, stage, not everyday wear, television. I get it. It looks great. But I'm going to be honest with you. You looking crazy with a band aid rolling up around your hairline, because you're constantly trying to glue it down. And when you take it off, when you watch my main problem, you will see, for example, Brandy worried about having a big forehead, but you're taking the hairline back further and further. So these lace front wigs, y'all, it's not really the thing to
Mhm.
do, but they cute, you fabulous, but just get a little bit more confidence and take care of your natural hair and feel good with that. Because it's not a good end all. I'm not saying you can't wear them and their hair won't be healthy underneath. You know, Beyonce just came out and did her whole thing. They talking about that wasn't her hair because she was holding her forehead, honey. But she might be a little tender headed. But of course, that was her hair. But everybody
Mhm.
says you're wearing wigs and weaves, you bald headed underneath. That's not always the case. There are people who follow the right measures and
Mhm.
treat and care for their hair and use it as an accessory, like
Right.
you.
Right. Exactly. We have another question from Carla Thompson. She says, I have natural hair. My stylist stated that I should put oil on my hair 2 to 3 times per week to prevent dryness. Then I have heard from other stylists that you don't want to put oil on that often, but use a water based moisturizer daily. What are your thoughts?
African American water based. I mean,
Look, I'm not
need I
even a
say
hairstylist.
anymore? If you're black and you get water based on African American hair, I don't recommend water, because water really dries hair out, especially African American or coarse hair, heavy textured hair like that. It dries it out extremely. Um, I feel like moisturizing your hair is the way to go, and you do have to feed your hair, because if you just look at it through time and you go back again to the Jerry curl days, when African Americans were wearing Jerry curls and they were feeding their hair, lo and behold, they've got grease everywhere. But we were feeding our hair, and we had hair
Mhm.
because we were feeding it. You have to
Yeah.
oil your hair and your scalp. You don't want to clog it up, but you do have to oil it.
I was
If you
actually
have
going
an
to ask
oily
what
scalp, then you might not have to oil it so much. But if you have dry hair and your hair is breaking and dry, absolutely have to oil it, hands down.
okay.
Bionic
Um,
hair oil. Bionic hair oil.
Okay, well, that probably answers this question. What do you recommend for feeding your hair? Bionic hair oil.
The Dr. Boogie product, Bionic hair oil, which can be found on my website, drboogiesecrets.com. You know what? That was a shameless plug, but any type of light oil, you kind of want to stay away from things that are heavy, because it will clog the shafts and everything. You want to use like a light oil, and for example, Bionic, shameless plug again, has peppermint in it. So it stimulates the scalp with the lavender that promotes hair growth. You're not just clogging up the shafts and just putting oil on your hair. It's light. I use oil as most people would use hairspray. I get really good curls in the hair by putting a little bit of oil in it, heating it up, letting it cool. That curl's gonna last me longer when I'm doing celebrity work and television and my girls out all day. That curl with a little bit of oil in it is gonna last me longer than that hairspray curl. People don't
You know
see it,
what?
but the truth.
I've used it, and I will recommend it. It does wonders. And I'm out, so hint,
I'll
hint.
send you some more. Someone's watching, my publicist assistant, somebody, I'll send us some oil, please.
For those that are wearing braids this summer, um, I'm gonna tell you a little quick story. So
Please do.
once upon a time, because I've never had my hair, I've never had braids, never.
Really?
And then the
That was very
one
slick, Rick, but I
time,
was ready for a rhyme. Once upon a time, not long ago.
right? The one time that I said, you know what? I'm getting some crochet braids. The one time in my life, my scalp was allergic and said, no, you're not. Take it out. So
To the
what?
synthetic hair?
Yeah, like literally, I probably had I paid all that money to get that hair done, and not even 3, 4 days later had to get it taken right back out because my
Oh
scalp
my
was so
goodness.
inflamed and it itched so bad. So can you talk a little bit about being allergic to the hair? How can you prevent that? Or should you just, I
Yeah,
personally am
I
staying
talk a little
away
bit
from
about
it.
being lazy, putting that up in your hair, trying to lock it up so you ain't got to do nothing to your hair. Yeah, I can talk about that. You ain't
Okay.
had no business doing that to your hair, no way. Putting it on lockdown. That on my main problem is one of the main problems, people putting that hair on lockdown. I can talk about that. You know what? We, as we grow older, like I used to couldn't eat like what was it called, avocado. I used to love it.
Mhm.
When I got older, I just couldn't eat it anymore. So and again, we don't really know where a lot of these products are coming from. Now,
Mhm.
I've been overseas. I ain't gonna say what country because I don't want them mad at me. So I've seen that the way the hair and stuff has been treated in other countries is not clean at all. Like it doesn't come from the cleanest place, and then we're putting that in our hair directly that's laying on our face. So it could either be the
Mhm.
product or what it came in contact with, which could be anything because they are coming from foreign countries.
Mhm.
So it could be several things. It's kind of like you sometimes want to do a strand test when you do hair or color or any type of chemical. They put the little test behind the ear because it's one of the sensitive places, and to see if you break out from it. Something you got to do if you're sensitive to things like that. You might
Mhm.
want to try that. That would be my recommendation.
Well, is there anything you can do though if you find you're sensitive? Because I did see on the YouTube that you can put the hair in some apple cider vinegar or something. I forget the mixture,
Yeah,
but
you could do that, but you know what? If you got to do all that, honey, and you could protect yourself, so that it just probably ain't safe, and I just wouldn't do it.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like again, that hair is coming from a whole nother country, and I don't want to say what I seen when I was to those countries and saw that hair, but you ought to be careful. That's kind of like the thing that they came out with the makeup. You know what they were saying when it was all the feces and stuff that was in the makeup when they did that documentary.
Mhm.
Like, it's just you gotta really be careful with what you put in your hair, around your face, close
Mhm.
to your skin. Foreign things. You just gotta be careful.
You done scared me.
You should be scared, honey. That's why you just want to wear your own natural hair. Take your time. Every step of the way is a new hairstyle. That's the great thing about growing your hair out. It ain't the same old look as you're growing. You're restyling. You got a new look all the time. And that's one thing about my main problem that you don't see a new look all the time.
Well, are there any lifestyle factors that can contribute to hair damage? And if so, how can people kind of put the brakes on it?
Yeah, the lifestyle factor is just not caring for your hair, just not doing self care, just
Mhm.
not taking the moment to care for your hair. Like now, it's kind of sad because people will sit there and go down the rabbit hole on social media for hours, but don't want to get up and shampoo and condition and hot oil treatment and cholesterol the hair and sit under the dryer. That whole time you was surfing on the internet going down that rabbit hole, you could have spent an hour, hour and a half just treating your hair for that 1 hour and a half for the week. It's worth it, every bit of it. But
Mhm.
people don't do that. And then they want to complain. And then they want the quick fix. And the quick fix leads to more hair damage.
Right, right. And you guys, if you have any more questions, drop them in the comments, and we'll get to them. Um, oh, there is a question. That was quick.
You
Is
ask,
there?
you shall receive,
Rolanda
honey.
Mitchell wants to know: is there any style of braids that's better for protecting your natural hair?
Braids are braids. No matter, braids are braids, honey. You can braid them 1,000 different ways, up, down, sideways, inwards, outwards. Braids are braids. It's all about the tension. You don't want to do too much pulling because if you're thinking that's going to make it last longer, that's not the case at all. You just got to watch out for the tension when you're getting those braids and those protective hairstyles. Because braids are braids. Just don't make them too tight.
Okay.
which is what Stacy did. If you watched,
Mhm.
this last episode, she believed in them being extremely tight. She thought that that's where she was getting her money's worth because she wanted them tight. But look what happened. Although she's absolutely gorgeous with a bald head.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any tips for, well, you kind of have mentioned it about dry scalps, but what causes it? What causes the dry scalps?
Several things. It could be your diet, like we talked about it before. Your diet could be, something that's causing your hair, your scalp, face to peel. Or like I have really dry eczema. If I'm not drinking a lot of water and eating vegetables, my skin's gonna act up really, really bad.
Mhm.
So it is again, lots of water. You want to make sure that you're hydrating your scalp, your hair, your body, and it really makes a difference. It really, really does.
You just told me about myself that I need to drink some water. That's what I heard.
Me and you both, honey.
Well, do you have any advice for those that are impacted by hair loss, whether it's alopecia? I know we mentioned menopause earlier, and I've mentioned low iron or any other illness or medicines causing it. And if the loss of hair or the damage is so bad and the person is scared to go to the hair salon, how can a stylist make them feel more at ease? And is there a specific type of salon they should be looking for?
Communication is key. You have to communicate with your stylist. A lot of people go to stylists and they think that these stylists are going to read your mind. They can't. You have to tell them, I'm afraid. I have an issue. I'm insecure about this issue. Like you have to be honest with your stylist and you have to share your issues with them so then they can accommodate you. You can't just go in, plunge, turn hoping and being nervous because
Mhm.
you're not going to get what you want, you're not going to be happy, and then you're going to blame it on the stylist. So, you have to be open, you have to communicate, and you got to find a stylist that actually cares about what you want. Now, if you just want a hairstyle, you can go to a hairstylist that just give you a great hairstyle. I recommend you go to a licensed cosmetologist that specializes in what you're going for. Hairstyle, haircut, hair color, hair care. You just got to figure out what's the right stylist for you and seek out a stylist. Talk to other women. See
Mhm.
people's hair that you are familiar with, that you're comfortable with, that you like. See where she goes. We got to communicate. Open up the community. Everything is not hush hush. Like now, my main problem, these women are coming out. They're speaking, they're telling their stories. That's huge. That's
Mhm.
taboo. Well, ain't no black woman ever took her wig off, let alone in front of the house, in front of her husband on national
Right.
television.
Mhm.
Like this is huge that we're at the point to where we can start sharing these stories with each other.
I love it. I love it. We have time for a couple more questions. If anybody has any, drop them in the chat. Um,
Chat.
yes. I feel like I don't put my business all out there about my
You know
hair.
what you got to? If you want to relate to people, you want people to relate to you. Sometimes you got to know, we don't even know who you're sleeping with, honey. But it's nice to share your experiences because, honey, no one likes picture perfect.
Right, right. While we're waiting to see if anybody has any additional questions, I'm just curious. So, say you go to a hairdresser and you have a relaxer, and then they put a relaxer in because it's time, and then you go back for your 2-week appointment, and they reapply that relaxer. That happened to me, by the
I'm
way.
just gonna
But
tell your hairstylist right now to stop doing that to you because they should know better. That's overlapping, and hair relaxers should be happening every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks.
mhm,
Not so often. If you missed a spot, you didn't do a good job. Wait to the retouch. And when I say retouch, only retouch the roots. There's no need to overlap it to think it's just going to get straighter and straighter and straighter. If it don't get straight this time, it's going to get straight next time. And just work with it. And don't try to over process it because once it's gone, it takes way longer to come back than it did to do that.
listen.
And you're telling yourself, so yeah, I got you. And hairdresser, yeah, you probably watch this. You stop doing that. You know better.
She ain't my stylist. Let's see here. Kimberly Anderson wants to know, is there any natural solutions to slow down hair loss?
Hi, Kimberly. Well, any natural solutions? I could go on the path of, the whole, organic natural tip, but to slow down hair loss, you want to stimulate those follicles, continuously, which goes back to brushing your hair at night. If you're stimulating those follicles, that hair will continue to produce. That blood will continue to flow. So you will continue to produce hair. We move everything. But some people just want to put a hat and a wig on and don't even touch that. Don't brush it, don't touch it. It's like they don't want to see it. I mean, I can go back to 100 years ago when, when the nannies is in the house tucking the back under here because they didn't, want master to see the little kitchen back there. Like, it has been a stigma for a very long time to hide embarrassed of our texture, our hair. And yeah, I'm light skinned and I'm saying R like I got geek hair, but I'm black, so I know all about it. So I'm just saying, be comfortable with what you got. Once you cross that hurdle, you're winning. And that's why I love my main problem. We cross whatever hurdle we got to. Like I said, I got them for a little while. But when we cross that hurdle and I just get them to understand the big picture here, oh, it's like, ching, ching, ching. It's such a great feeling. I'm so corny when it comes to that show because I love making women and men, since we have so many now on the show, feel good about what they see when they look in the mirror.
I love it. It's a really great show, y'all. It is on All Black. A new episode drops every Thursday. Yep. So make sure you get the app and check it out. My main problem.
Watch me cry with the girls, honey.
So before we leave, we have one more question, and then I've got another question for you. So Lynette wants to know, satin pillowcases or scarves, does it make a difference to your hair?
Satin pillowcases are amazing. I feel like everyone should have a satin pillowcase, even if you're bald-headed, because it feels good. But satin pillowcase, good. Scarf, scarves kind of fall off and you get frustrated. The only really scarves that stay on are those cotton scarves, unless you get a big silk scarf and you wrapping it. But that sometimes falls off in the middle of the night. And it's so disappointing when that happens. You wake up and your scarf is off. So it makes you feel like you can't sleep comfortably because you're like, sleeping like that. So the satin pillowcase really helps a lot. And then that wrap cap, that little wrap thing that goes around, you just want to stay away from the elastic and the things that pull so it's not popping off your hair.
That makes sense. Because I was about to say, if you have the satin pillowcase, then what do you do with your hair? You don't put a scarf on or anything? You just lay on the pillow?
Well, it depends on how long your hair is. Some people like to put it up in a little top knot, you know what I'm saying? Just to bring it all the way up and put it in a top knot so you're not creasing it or anything like that. So you do that, or you wrap it and you put the little thing around it that goes like that, the little satin thing with the little Velcro. Just make sure the Velcro is not in your hair. And you put that on and you just lay on your satin pillowcase and you'll be fine.
You are teaching me things today
because I'm like, pillowcase is everything, honey. You're like hair or no hair. The satin pillowcase is everything because you can literally just lay down and your hair's not going to get so dented. And then if you do have, your hair can't go up in the top knot, you just pull it to the back. So you're laying on your sides and that way, or your face or whatever, and you're not really messing up your hair. But don't put it in a rubber band.
Well, what if you got when you want to? You're just cleaning up around the house and you want to pull your hair back.
Because we done been to the shower, we done been somewhere else. But no, when you clean up around the house, you just do you. You can put a little scarf and just pull it back out your face. And then
I like a ponytail. Like is what I'm watching my music videos so I can swing. Okay.
Right. No, there you go. Because let me tell you, Megan Thee Stallion will have your knees bad, honey, watching them music videos. You start just getting into the vibe. It just sucks you right on in. Next thing you know, you just tramping all over the living room. Hair gone.
Oh my gosh, you are hilarious. So my question to wrap this show up is, what is the one thing that you do for you that is so good for your soul?
Oh my gosh, where do I start? You're gonna make me cry, girl, damn it. For one, I have dogs. I love my dogs. I love my dogs. I love to spend time with my dogs because they're innocent. They don't have no ulterior motive. And then holidays, Christmas, I love to go to the battered women shelters and do hair free. Holidays, Valentine's, and just make over as many women as I can. Hair, makeup, and photo all by myself. I go down to the Halle Berry Genesee Center, that down in LA, and I go in there with the women. They have like a little area for me to go do hair, and the wardrobe, I can take their picture, I give them makeup, and that just makes me feel so good to be able to do that and don't charge them and let them look in the mirror and someone telling them that they're beautiful. Girl, here we go.
I love that.
They must have told you, get them, girl. Just ask them something about that. But that's what makes me feel good. Like making people feel. I'm the type of person that likes to make people feel good. She pisses me off, but I'm the type of person that likes to make people feel good.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good. That's why the show, My Main Problem, is so perfect for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you for joining me on Soulibration because you have celebrated all of our and liberate all of our souls on here today on blackdoctor.org. You guys make sure you go over to the website, blackdoctor.org, and check out, there's plenty of articles about hair care. You can go over there, check out My Main Problem on All Black, and check out Dr. Boogie at drboogiesecrets.com. And I am Check the Rhymes TV on all social and the Mofo Chronicles everywhere. Thank you so much, Dr. Boogie.
You are so welcome, and thank you for having me again. I appreciate it, and hopefully, I'll be seeing you again for season 3, girl.
I hope so. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.